Today, the music of Grażyna Bacewicz unfortunately isn't that well known outside of Poland, despite being quite innovative and very interesting. I feel that it needs to be performed much more often, and I will do my part. I will perform her works whenever I have the opportunity to do so. So today we're going to focus on interesting sound effects and sonorities in her Sonata No. 2, which she wrote in 1958. The piece has multiple movements, and they are all supposed to be played attacca, meaning without a break in between. Only before the last movement, the finale, it makes sense musically to take a little break. I also actually have to turn the page for it. So, alright, so the piece starts out with a double D note, and one of those D notes is played on the G string, and the other one is an open D string. So we have this. But that's too simple to stay for too long. So very soon we will slide up from one of the D notes to D sharp. And then we'll have a C sharp, which is half a step lower than the D string. So all that is going to happen, all those D sharp, C sharp notes are going to happen while the D string, the open D string, is going to be held all throughout. So that's what we get when we combine these ideas. That's the beginning, the opening, and then right after she introduces a figure that's built on 3 notes. So those notes are, it's G sharp, A, C, but it's not quite important what these notes are. It's more important what the distances between them are, the intervals. So between the first 2, we have a minor second. Between the second and third, we have a minor third. Then we will have those same notes, those same intervals on other strings. And then she will add a few connecting notes. So using that 3-note idea, we will get figures that sound like this. Or the last one. All right, and then the music will get a little more expressive, more singing for a little bit. And that will lead us to another movement, which is Allegro, and it's a play of open strings and dissonances. That's how I would call it. So we're gonna have open strings, first the A, and then also E, and then some notes that are close by to those strings. So, and there will be a little bit of an edge to it all. It's not gonna be quite nice and playful. With the E string. Alright, and then she adds a little bit of double stops. And all those open strings are very, very important throughout the whole piece. We're going to have a lot of open strings. So, double stops and open strings. The harmonic. Harmonics are also going to be very important in this piece. Alright, so then the next section of Allegro, that same movement, is very much like the music of Bela Bartok. I would say it's totally inspired by it. And it starts with a figure that's built again on 3 notes. And again, it's not quite important what those notes are. It's more important what the distances between them are. So, perfect fourth, minor second. So, those notes first happen on the E string. then on the A string, D string, and part of the idea, part of the three notes, 2 of 3, on the G string. So with all that energy required for this section, this is how it's going to sound. Then we have a chromatic scale up. There's going to be a lot of chromatic scales up and down throughout the piece. All right, so then within that same movement, that Allegro movement, we will have lots of ideas, but one of them will be a descending chromatic sequence of 3 notes, and then half step lower, put together. This is how it's going to sound like. All right, and then the music is gonna get singing again for a little bit. She does that a lot. Virtuosic, playful, energetic, and then singing for a little bit. All right, and that singing leads us now to the material that we had at the very opening of the piece. So that will be that D string, and then some other notes that are close by, but this time it's going to be in the meter of the next movement. So and the next movement, meno mosso, starts with another idea that's built on 3 intervals, and those intervals are going to be major 7th, perfect 4th, and minor 2nd. And so when put together, this is the melody, the tune that we get. Interesting, I would say. And soon we'll have some double stops, and we'll have of course open strings always, and then we'll have that dissonant minor 9th. So all right, and then we are going to move to another movement, poco più mosso, a little faster, built on 3 ideas: trills, open E string, and a note that's thrown in with an accent. All right, so when put together, those 3 ideas, this is how the music sounds like. Slide up, chromatic slide up, chromatic slide down, and there will be more slides up sections, and then the next section, virtuosic section of this movement, is built on another 3-note idea. 2 of the notes are played on one of the strings, and the 3rd note is an open string. C sharp, D, open D. Then we're gonna have the same thing as G sharp, A, open A. All right, and then there will be variations of that idea. So when put together, this is how this section sounds like. Calm down soon, and the connecting material to the next section will be a slow, pretty, very nice tune built on seconds, minor and major seconds. Major, minor. All right, so this is how it sounds like, and it's triple pianissimo at first. pizzicati, and then bigger leaps for more expression. And then on the next section is very similar to what we had in the second movement, very much like Bartók. And there is another three-note idea, very similar to what we had, but also very cool. So I'll play it. All right, and it gets kind of crazy toward the end of this section, and then we have this pretty aggressive, I would say, pizzicati, and both notes. All right, and then we go to the next movement, which is Adagio, and Adagio has double stops, and I would say that it sounds quite seductive. We go to the next movement, a little faster than this one, so poco più mosso, which uses the idea of the very opening of the piece, the open D string, together with other notes played on the G string. So this is what we have. I would say, long movement in comparison with other movements. And the next one is meno mosso, slower, and it's a very short movement, and everything calms down. It finishes at triple pianissimo. And then we go to the finale, the last movement, which is very different from anything else that I've seen in violin pieces. It's presto, glissando spiccato, so it's going to be a lot of sliding up and down on the fingerboard. And what she writes in is just some double stops. It's all double stops, but she just writes in some notes. And then she writes in dots, and those dots are the notes that are going to be played in between those double stops, and so when combined, this is how it sounds like, and it's supposed to be very quiet at first. All right, goes on for a while, and gets more. It gets louder, and then toward the end, it's quite bombastic, I would say. Thank you for watching this presentation, and I hope you will enjoy watching my performance of the piece from the beginning till the end without stopping.